Let's turn faux leather into beautiful earrings using a Cricut. Hi everyone, it's Chrissy from First Day of Home. We're going to dive right into this project. I have my faux leather sheets here that I ordered from Amazon. I will link these down below. And I'm going to be using a strong grip mat with my Cricut Maker 3. You can also use the Explorer Cricut machines or even the Joy or Joy Xtra machine. And since there are a lot of different blade fabric combinations, I'm going to link to a blog post where I have this handy guide for you. I'm going to be covering some of the design aspects of this project later on, so stay tuned for that. As you can see here, I'm going to put some masking tape around these faux leather sheets just to make sure they don't move around in the machine. To protect my material, I'm going to move the rollers in my Maker 3 all the way over so that they won't roll over the faux leather sheet. Next thing I'm going to do is swap out my fine point blade for this deep point blade. But for some faux leathers, you may be able to get away with the regular fine point blade that comes standard with the machines. And for others that are thicker, you might need the knife blade, which is only compatible with the Maker 3. So again, check out that guide I mentioned previously. Before we continue, I want to let you know that you can find all of these designs over in my profile in Cricut Design Space. You can get a sneak peek here of what we'll be making, and I'm going to put that link right down below in the pinned comment, so be sure to check that out. If you don't have a Cricut Access subscription, you might have trouble accessing some of these designs, but you can always buy them a la carte, or you can choose a simpler design. In the software, I had chosen thin garment leather with a default pressure using the deep point blade with mirroring off. Now, I didn't go through all of that beforehand because I didn't want to overwhelm you. I wanted to really show you how simple it is to cut leather earrings. So if you want all the details of the software, I have a full blog post that will walk you through those steps. But just remember, I have all of these designs already pre-formatted for you in Cricut Design Space. As I'm unloading my mat here and checking my cuts, let me know where you're watching from and which Cricut machine you own. I would love to know more about your Cricut journey. And be sure to leave a like if you're enjoying this video. It helps me grow my channel, and I certainly appreciate that. I don't know about you, but I have learned a ton from other creators on YouTube, and I hope I can be an inspiration for you and bring you some joy as well as you learn how to use your Cricut more. All right, so we have our earrings cut out here, and I did cut the holes with my Cricut machine, but in a minute I'm going to show you another way to make holes that is a little more reliable. The next thing we'll need are some jump rings. I have some 5mm and 4mm jump rings and some fish hooks. Then I'm using some jewelry pliers to gently open up those jump rings, and you see how I twist those open gently to make sure that they don't lose their structure. Then you'll just weave a jump ring in through the holes. Here I have a 2-hole design, which gives more of a teardrop effect. And so I'm going to put the first jump ring in through those 2 holes, and then once we get that gently closed, again twisting the wires, as you can see here, we'll add our next jump ring, and this is to make sure that the earring lies facing forward. If you only used one jump ring, the earring would twist to the side. So that's what we need to use too, and just follow the same steps until we finally attach our earring hooks on top. And it should look a little something like this. Now, this is just one type of design. I'm going to show you some variations and make it a lot more interesting, but I think these are just so simple and beautiful. Sometimes the Cricut machines don't cut tiny holes very well. So here's another tool you can use. It's just a leather punch, because my husband does a lot of leather working and I'm borrowing this from him. So I'm just going to make a small hole. There are a few different size options you can use on this. If you don't have one of these, you can also buy single hole punches in the size that you need, and I'll link to some of those options below. So here's another thing that can happen when you're making earrings. I wanted to kind of give you an example of what could go wrong. Here, the blade didn't cut all the way through the fabric, so I took my blade out and gave it a little cleaning before putting it back in. So play around with your settings, do some test cuts. It could be the pressure, it could be the type of material setting in your software, so experiment. I like the look of double-sided earrings, and these leather sheets weren't double-sided, so I just cut out an extra piece, and I'm using a leather glue to attach the front and back pieces. I think this turned out really, really cute. It's good enough to sell, so that's something to consider as well. Let's get into some more advanced designs with some iron-on foil. Here I'm using a faux leather sheet in black, and I'm going to use this gorgeous foil iron-on to add some extra details. Now for this project, I'll be using my Easy Press Mini to attach the iron-on vinyl. You can also use a small household iron if you don't have an Easy Press. I'm using the same cut settings that we did for the last few sets of earrings with my faux leather. One quick tip I wanted to give you is before you unload the mat, make sure that your leather has cut through all the way, because if not, you can always process it one more time. For these earrings, I used my leather punch again to make the holes, and I cut out a front and back piece to have double-sided earrings. Then I'm going to prepare my iron-on vinyl with the shiny side down, but before I load it, remember these two things. You have to move the star wheels back because remember we moved those over just for the faux leather. Then you're going to want to change your blade out, and the software will prompt you to do this as well. Just make sure that you pay attention. So I'm putting my fine point blade back in to finish cutting that iron-on foil. After trimming my pieces down, I just need to weed the negative space or remove the excess vinyl, and this is where a weeding tool comes in handy. The foil iron-on tends to be a little finicky, so take your time, and you might need to adjust the pressure to more pressure in the software before cutting. So quick tutorial on how I did this overlay because I want you to be able to customize your designs too. So I started with my basic earring shape and then added this pretty mandala that I found in Cricut Design Space. I'm just going to change the color so you can kind of see how this will be the foil piece. After sizing down that mandala, I made a second copy of the background and then selected both the earring and the mandala and hit slice. There are a lot of different ways you could get to this end point, but this is one of my preferred ways. So then I'm just deleting the piece I don't need, and you can see it actually cut out the shape from the earring base as well, which is why I made that extra copy to begin with, so that I'd have a clean one to work with. Then I can just duplicate this shape and mirror it to have a matching set of earrings. Now you know how you can mix and match shapes to create your own earring designs in Cricut Design Space. Now let's get back to our iron-on project and finish out these faux leather earrings. I'm going to go ahead and heat up my Easy Press Mini just by pressing the button. I'm using the lowest heat setting, which you can see here. The heat guide is a great reference for your material and the heat settings that you need with it. So for this foil iron-on, I'm just entering my material settings, and then it's going to tell me exactly how long to press the earrings. I was so excited to see how these turned out. I don't know if you ever get really excited about a project, but I think these are going to turn out just so beautifully. So I'm following the directions by preheating my faux leather. Then I will apply my design and place a piece of parchment paper on top. Try saying that 5 times fast. After pressing the earrings for about 30 seconds, I was able to remove the parchment paper and let the liner cool completely before peeling it off. So I went ahead and pressed the second earring while I waited for the first one to cool down. And it's time for the moment of truth when we can pull away that liner and see the beautiful earrings that we've made. I think this foil iron-on is just gorgeous for earrings, especially with the contrast of that black against that rose gold. I'll link to these supplies again down below if you're interested in making something similar. I just love the way that this catches the light. I went ahead and added those back pieces to the earrings before attaching my findings, just as we did before. These earrings are so simple to make. I think they make great gifts, and you can find, again, many different designs like these in Cricut Design Space under my profile, so be sure to check that out in the pinned comment. And I hope to see you back here next time. I'd love to hear what did you like most about this video and what do you want to see more of? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you back here next time.